Hello everyone, today we will repeat one very unusual type of street food from Taiwan. The fact is that they came up with a recipe for the softest sponge cake in the world called Castella. And those who have tried such a biscuit assure that in addition to the fact that it is soft as possible, it can also be eaten in its pure form even without drinking, since it's very wet. In the bakeries of Taiwan, they bake a huge sponge cake, then cut them into pieces and sell it. And sometimes whipped cream is also used as a filling. Let's repeat the softest biscuit in the world. Let's go! We will need a very large number of eggs. We open them up. Then break them. And very carefully open the shells so that the yolk remains intact. If at least one yolk breaks, then nothing's going to come out of this. We break 204 eggs. We have a container full of eggs. Now they need to be divided into whites and yolks. It is very simple to do this. We take the yolk in our hands, the protein slips between our fingers and simply separates until the force of gravity. We also do this as carefully as possible so as not to crush the yolk. And do this until we've divided every single one. Done. Now we need a huge saucepan, into which we pour 3.4 liters of milk. Then we open up a bottle of oil. Pour out 900 milliliters. We're also going to need some butter. We open it up. This briquette of butter weighs 5 kilograms. We need exactly half. We take 2 burners, light them, and put this bad boy on there to heat up. In a bowl, break the butter into smaller pieces. Heat the milk so that the butter is completely melted. Meanwhile, we measure the flour on the scales. We need 3.4 kilograms. Pour the flour into the pan. Knead first with a spatula. And then with a whisk to break out the lumps of flour. When the mass has become homogeneous, we send all the chicken yolks and mix it all until smooth. We will cook the biscuit in a wood-burning oven. It needs to be warmed up in advance, therefore we will chop some wood. We lay out the firewood with a well. And we throw some small chips inside. And ignite it all with a burner. When the chips have flared up, we push the firewood inside. Now we let the oven warm up. We put a container with the egg whites on the table, as well as the bowl into which we pour 4 packs of sugar. We also need an industrial mixer. In a measuring cup, we collect 400 milliliters of egg whites, pour them into the bowl of the mixer, and whisk them. As soon as the foam begins to appear, we collect the sugar and gradually pour it in. And whisk the egg whites already to a very dense foam. Done. We put them into a saucepan. And carefully mix this foam into the dough. We load the egg whites into a second time. By the way, I almost forgot. Be sure to add vanilla and whisk the whites again. While all this is being whipped up, we throw more firewood into the stove. We send the second portion of proteins to the pan. We continue to whisk and mix the proteins until they run out. It took us 4 hours. Meanwhile, the stove is already warmed up as well. We remove all the coal from it with a shovel. Very carefully mix the last whipped whites into our dough. It turned out to be unrealistically easy. Now we take an iron bath, put a mold into it, and pour oil in it. We spread it evenly out across the walls with our hand. Lay out some parchment paper. Now we pour out our dough. And now the most important thing. To make the sponge cake even wet, pour hot water into the lower bath. And push the baking tray into the depth of the stove. That's it. We close the oven with 2 shutters in order to keep the temperature we need at 160 degrees for as long as possible. While our biscuit is baking, open the cream with a fat content of 35% and pour 1 liter into the bowl of the mixer. We start whipping at medium speed. When they begin to thicken, we increase the speed to the maximum and gradually add sugar. 3 minutes and the cream is whipped. We put a large pastry bag on a high container and transfer the whipped cream. And transfer the whipped cream into the bag using a silicone spatula. We take out the bag. Four hours later, we open the oven. And it looks like our biscuit is ready. We put on some gloves and take it out. We put a bath on top of it and turn it over onto the other side. We remove the main baking sheet and tear off the parchment. We apply a cutting board and carefully turn the biscuit over. In my opinion, everything worked out for us and the biscuit is very soft. And when pressed, it makes a sound like a sponge. Let's cut it up. It turned out really soft, just like a squishy toy. Cut the piece lengthwise. And squeeze out some whipped cream. Cover with the second piece of sponge cake, and let's try. Yes, this is the softest and most delicious sponge cake I have ever tasted. You can eat it with your lips. I think we managed to cook a huge Castella sponge cake just like on the streets of Taiwan. Be sure to put likes on this video and click on the playlist. There are still lots of videos where we repeat the street food. Bye everybody!